Finally, someone has done it. Someone has made a worthy competitor to the Apple Studio display. This is Asus's 5K display, and if you're someone who has been considering the Studio display, you've got to look at this. They have sponsored this video, so it's not a review, but I did want to cover all the features and functionality and why it's a great option if you're looking specifically for a 5K display. So the design is pretty basic, nothing fancy here. It's mostly made of plastic. The bezels though are pretty small around the edges. Other than the chin, there is a chin. So it's not as clean or as minimal looking as the Studio display. However, I think if you're considering this monitor, you probably don't care too much about the design, you actually care about the display itself. It comes with a stand that offers a ton of movement, so you can angle it just the way you like. And it of course offers a VESA mount if you want to mount it to something like a monitor arm. There is no external power brick, which is really nice to see because I love it when manufacturers house everything inside the monitor itself. On the back there is a HDMI port, a display port, 2 USB-C ports, a headphone jack, 2 USB-A ports, and there is a built-in hub/KVM. There's also an additional USB-A port and USB-C ports on the bottom of the monitor for easy access. And one of the USB-C ports provides up to 96 watts of power, making it perfect for a one cable setup. And thankfully, Asus actually include the cable in the box. So if you have a MacBook Pro like I do here, you can connect up the cable to the monitor, connect it up to your MacBook, and it works right out of the box. So you don't have to worry about trying to find the right cable. Next, let's talk about the display. By the way, if you're interested in this wallpaper, it's part of my new palette wallpaper pack. I'll leave it linked down in the description below. So what makes this monitor special is of course the 5K resolution at 27 inches, which makes it pretty much identical to the Studio display. It means it has 218 pixels per inch, aligning perfectly with the recommended PPI that Apple set out. That also means it scales perfectly with macOS. You get sharp text, sharp UI, and an overall sharp image. I also don't think most people realize how much of a gap there is between 4K and 5K because it doesn't really sound like much. 4K, 5K just doesn't sound like much of a difference. However, I have the stats here. A 4K display is 3840 by 2060, which equals around 8.29 million pixels. A 5K display, like this one, is 5120 by 2880, which equals 14.74 million pixels. So a 5K display like this has nearly double the pixels compared to a 4K display. That's a massive difference. You can simply fit a lot more on a 5K display when you have the scaling done correctly. So for example, with a 4K display, to scale it perfectly, you'll scale it to 1080. With a 5K display, you'll scale it to 1440. And when you have them side by side and you have different UIs on the screen, you can really tell the difference. You can really tell how much more you can fit on a 5K display. Also, 5K is one of those things where it's difficult to explain on camera. It's difficult to show what it's like on camera. It's one of those things that you actually have to experience in person to really see how much of a difference it is. When you've gotten used to 4K displays and the resolution that 4K displays offer, and then you jump to 5K, for someone like me, where I really can tell the difference, especially because I do a lot of UI design work, it just makes a big difference. This monitor is part of Asus's Pro Art lineup, which means it's specially designed to be color accurate. They even calibrate it before you receive it, so it looks fantastic out the box, and they include a color calibration testing report just to make sure that it looks fantastic. So if you're someone like me who's going to be doing things like photo editing, video editing, design work, UI design, this just makes it perfect for you. And in the menu, there's a bunch of color presets to choose from, which is vital for anyone doing any color accurate work. So Asus say that this display goes up to 500 nits. However, I have seen a few other reviews online because I don't have one of those monitor testing things to see how bright it gets, but I've seen quite a few reviews online. Most of those reviews are saying that it's actually brighter than 500 nits. Kit Guru on their unit actually found that it went over 580 nits. And I've been using this in my office in the daytime with lots of sunlight coming in. I mean, I live in Dubai, so we get a lot of natural sunlight. And yeah, I've had no issues using this in the day. I found that it's definitely bright enough. If you are someone who works in a well-lit room, I don't think you're going to have any issues. I really do think it gets bright enough. Unless, of course, you're in some room that's like ridiculously bright. Yeah, I just don't think you're going to have any issues. The coating on this display, Asus are calling Lux Pixel Tech, which is actually very similar to the nano texture that you find on Apple's displays. Now, of course, some people will be like, hey, you know, glossy displays are the way to go and whatever else, and I completely get it. Glossy displays look fantastic. But as I've been using this, I've actually been really impressed by the matte texture on it. And part of me almost now prefers it, which sounds insane. Like, I think as I've started to appreciate what matte displays can offer, you know, they don't have the sort of premiumness of a glossy display, but I almost feel like the UI and the elements and stuff, there's something about it that looks sharper, because sometimes matte displays, they can have a sort of haziness to them. This display does not have that whatsoever. Everything looks tack sharp. This display is limited to 60 Hz, which I personally don't really see it as an issue. I know some people, they want 120 Hz or more, but I still use 60 Hz displays for my productivity stuff all day, every day. Obviously, it would be nice to have 120 Hz. However, to have 120 Hz, we need Thunderbolt 5. Thunderbolt 5 has only just come out. Only the new MacBooks have it. So we're already limited there, and Thunderbolt 5 also makes things a lot more expensive. To have Thunderbolt and displays, it actually will add like another 100, 200, maybe more. Like, it just really does bring up the price. So I do think for 60 Hz, because this is a productivity monitor, not a gaming monitor, I do think it's not really that much of an issue. So what's so special about 5K? Why pay the money to have a 5K display? You can get some fantastic 4K monitors for around the same price as a 5K monitor like this one. But 5K for productivity work, I think just makes a lot of sense, and it's really nice, it's fantastic. Like I said, 5K is nearly double the resolution of 4K. So the sharpness, the UIs, everything that you see, the text and everything on the display, it just looks better. For one-to-one scaling, you would usually scale a 4K monitor to 1920 by 1080 and a 5K display to 2560 by 1440. At 2560 by 1440, you can fit a lot more content on the screen. Now, of course, you could scale the 4K monitor to be 2560 by 1440 as well, but because it's not perfectly scaled, the edges of the text and UI elements just don't look as sharp. Naturally, being a Mac user, I lean towards displays like this where there is higher PPI. It just aligns perfectly with Apple's own displays, resulting in great sharpness. If you're someone who's looking for a studio display alternative, this is it. This is the one. With it being half the price, you of course won't get the full aluminium shell like you do with the studio display. You won't get the webcam, and of course you won't get the nice minimal design. But considering how much you're saving by buying this display, you can buy this display and you can buy a Mac Mini, and you'll still have $100 left over. That's a pretty incredible deal if you ask me. If you are interested in buying it, by using my link in the description below, you can also get Adobe Creative Cloud free for 3 months. Make sure to check out one of my other videos. I recently did a video on the best productivity monitors that I think you can buy right now. I feel like it's something that's always changing, but I wanted to do one anyway. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe for more.